Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, or good day wherever you are in the world, and welcome to the next episode of No Dice, No Glory. Sponsored by our jobs that actually pay us money, we're coming to you not at all live from an abandoned arms factory deep under a mountain in West Virginia. We are proud to proffer to you the finest in wargaming coverage. Without any further ado, let's get this show on the road.
Hey, well, thank you, Sean. And today I'm with my podcast buddy, Triple G, Glenn Goddard.
Cool.
And we are here at the Crossroads Tabletop Tavern in Manassas, Virginia. And we're here with the owner, John Hornberger, who opened up what I consider a mecca of games. John, welcome to the show.
Thanks.
So tell us about yourself. What's your gaming creds? What was that first game you ever played?
Oh man, the first game I ever played, it's so far back in the shrouded in the mist of time.
Candyland?
I don't know.
Come on, you were a big Candyland fanatic, weren't you?
Nice try, but no.
Hi-ho, Cheerio.
Maybe Stratego.
Really?
Yeah, maybe, yeah. Stratego. Oh, you know what? Uncle Wiggly is probably one of my favorite young kid games that I remember playing, and I actually have it here in the store over on the shelf.
I had an Uncle Wiggly.
You had an Uncle Wiggly.
I did. Right. We stayed away from him. So tell us about this store too. I mean, there's so much to ask you. So I should just slow down. So tell us about this beautiful place.
Okay. Well, I don't know where to start. I've been collecting games since I left high school in '83. I left for the Navy in '83, and I brought Trivial Pursuit with me, the original blue box, Genus 1 Trivial Pursuit. And I was kind of, we played games a lot as a kid growing up. We'd stay up till the wee hours of the night and arguing and all that stuff, playing all sorts of games, card games and you name it. But after I left home, that's the thing I brought with me was this love for hanging out late and playing and everything that comes with it, right? So I ended up hosting game nights pretty much my whole life and accumulating games, and at one point, I guess when I got around 100 games, I realized I'm either a hoarder or a collector. So I decided I was a collector, and I started just picking them up, and my collection's over 2,200 games.
Wow.
And, 2,300 now. And I, it's a long story, but I ended up going into retail because I wanted to open my own shop someday, and that was about 20 years ago. And I finally was able to do it. I was in a board game store as recently as a year and a half ago, and they didn't want to do this concept, but I did, and I've been thinking about it for like 20 years.
Maybe you should explain this concept because they can't see it.
Okay.
Right.
So here's the thing about this concept is a board game tavern. So it's a place where you can sit down and with friends or family or whatever, strangers even, and sit down at a table around a game that everybody wants to play, and you can order good food, you can order drink, you can sit there for a little while and just have fun. So that's really what it's all about. It's about spending time together, interacting with each other. That's what I think games are good for. They stimulate some part of you that really needs it, right? So it's social, it's emotional, it's intellectual. It's personal, it's interactive, it doesn't involve screens normally, and it brings people together. So that's what really drives me to do it. It gives people some real personal interactive time.
Well, one of the nice things that I like about your setup here is that you've got a downstairs area with lots of tables, more of kind of family area, serve the food there. But then you have an upstairs area for the adult beverages and quieter. So you kind of got something for whatever suits you.
Yeah, so a big part of finding a good space was to be able to chop it up into pieces so that I could have a family-friendly spot and an adult-friendly spot. And it's quiet upstairs now. But the tables turn at night. It's very noisy at night. But it's a very adult space upstairs. But adults are also down here, you'll see. And so the idea was to be able to sit down. And here's another thing: is a lot of game stores you go into are very niche.
Right.
Yeah.
And your non-gaming people that go in there typically don't stay because they're not very welcome. They don't feel very comfortable staying in there because they feel like they're out of place. And I've noticed that my whole life going into game stores is that they just don't know how to deal with, say, a soccer mom and her kids who are coming in to see the games, and so they just turn around and leave. So I wanted this to be a very comfortable place, a home for gamers, but also a place where non-gamers could discover all the great games that are out there because there's so many.
Yeah, and I know you guys can't see. I just threw up the first picture on Facebook, but you could go back and look at this. I mean, there are a ton of games here, and I think I could spend 15, 20 years just trying to play through some of these games here. And there's really stuff for everybody here. There's some really neat. I see Axis and Allies up there. Samurai. I saw you had 1901, which I need to play one day. I have it in the house. But there's so many cool games that are here. But it's also a restaurant. I was actually kind of jazzed as soon as I heard about this place to come here because you don't really have this in this area. Like a place where you can go. It's a restaurant. And bring the family, play great games, and, see, beautiful shelves.
Well, it has the great part that I like of conventions where most conventions, they have a wall of games you can check out and just play. You don't have to buy them, but you can try them. And he's got that here, a pretty big wall of it, by the way. And then on the other side, he's got all the games that you can purchase them. So you can come try and then buy, or you can just come here because you know that there's a certain game you want to pick up or something. But you got quite a variability here.
Yeah, it's and most folks know, and you too, you go to conventions, your head starts swimming. There's too much to look at. And I'm just looking around here. There's too much. I need blinders, so I'm not looking at these games. How did you get 22,000 games?
How did I? I just collecting them. Like I said, I started and I didn't want to get, when I get a game, I get it for a reason because I want it and I like it. I don't want to get rid of it necessarily. I mean, I know lots of people just have space and they're good at saying, okay, I need to get rid of some of these because I'm running out of space. I made space instead of...
Yeah.
I just made space, and
my
wife tolerates it.
What's your personal niche of games? What games do you enjoy the most?
That's a horrible question.
We have to ask one good and one bad question every podcast.
No, it's what's your favorite child? That's kind of the what's your favorite? At least you asked for a niche. I would say that I really like map games. I love maps.
Okay.
And I like history a lot.
All right.
Well, which obviously.
Oh, I have a game to talk to you about in a couple.
I imagine you've got thousands of games.
Yeah. No. Map games are great. I see Catan over there, which it's prominent. So I'm sure you enjoy it. Believe it or not, never played it.
No.
What?
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
It's
deprived childhood. I don't know.
It is. Yeah. My parents did not love me.
It broke the ice for a lot of people. It's like the original gateway game into modern gaming. So
it's really the father of all the Euro games, right? I mean,
that's safe to say.
Yeah, and I see here people are sitting eating, and they're playing games, which to me is it's like watching TV while eating, or watching TV in the shower. I don't even want to get into that. Folks that have met me don't need that visual.
There,
but it's kind of neat. So. Your thing is come, eat, and play?
Yeah, come and sit down, order food and drink, and play. Or you can buy a game if you want. As long as you're a paying customer, you can get table space, right? So whatever that takes. When it's busy, we try to limit the space and the time just to give other people a chance to come in and sit down. We don't want long wait times. I can't tell you how many restaurant people or bank people, finance people said, oh, you don't have turns, right? You need turns for a restaurant, so this won't work. I know where they're coming from because, you need turns in a restaurant, but I've got a reason for people to come in on a rainy afternoon, on a cold afternoon. You're not going to go hang out at a restaurant and spend time in the afternoon when all the restaurants are dead.
Well,
you're going to come here
and like you said, there's a number of families here with small children. There's there's some teenagers here. There's some in their 20s. So you have different people, but what a perfect place to come on a Sunday and have a family day and, hey, we're going to play. And then you're in a great location. You can walk around Old Town Manassas after this.
That's right.
My first time here. Time here. So let's talk about the industry a little bit. Game stores come, game stores go. Restaurants come, restaurants go. What was some of the bigger obstacles? Because you just said about, hey, you need turns. What were some of the bigger obstacles you had in realizing this dream here?
Well, it was always financing. It was always risk. My wife is very risk averse, so she was, she was pushing back from the beginning. I actually met her as a grad student out in California at UC Davis, and I decided to leave a PhD program. And when I did, that's when I told myself I'm going to open a board game and bookstore is what I thought at the time.
What year was that?
That was in '99.
Wow.
Right, and so I went right into game retail for the Gamekeeper.
That's a great show.
I worked for them for a while, and then anyway, so then that started my retail career. So, and I didn't have much experience in retail, so. But after 20 years, you pick up quite a bit. And I worked for big box stores, and I worked for independent retailers, and I did my own freelance, merchandising. But I always had this idea in my mind, right? And then about 10 years ago, Snakes and Lattes came on board. They're a board game cafe in Toronto. And they started it. But I had already been thinking about this sort of thing, and I knew they were showing up. There are things like this in Europe and in Japan and China. So anyway, Snakes and Lattes started the first one I know of in North America, and it was just a board game cafe, and I thought, that's great, but that's not big enough, And now cafes are popping up all over the place, board game cafes, and it's tempting to compare us to them, but they're not the same. You go in there, some are board game bars, where you go in and, it's very much a bar that has board games. There's one in D.C., in fact, where you go in and it's very much a bar. It's board game themed, it's really awesome, but their game collection is a closet full of Connect 4 and Cards Against Humanity.
Yeah, they rely on clientele bringing.
They do. It's a bar that features games. And Board Game Cafe is proper. The Board and Brew in College Park, great place, right? They've got a nice selection, but it's not huge. It's just a cafe. You can get muffins, coffee, whatever. But this is a full experience, I think. It's a big space. You can find your own spot. You can. I've got over 1,400 games here to choose from, and they're old and new, and that's what's different about it. You can really be comfortable and reclaim that fun family time. And I can't tell you how awesome it is to walk around on a busy night and just see all the different tables enjoying games in their own way. Some are heavy strategists sitting there just really, focused on the map or whatever the case may be. And then some are playing, we've got adults playing Chutes and Ladders for an hour and a half, which I didn't totally expect, but I'm not surprised because it's nostalgic, and for them they're having fun and they're going to look next to them and see someone playing Azul or whatever and be like, what game is that? That looks cool. Let's give that a shot. And so I feel like I'm helping. I'm sort of a midwife to modern gaming for a lot of people who don't know about it, who think that whatever Walmart sells is what gaming's all about. And I want to change that.
Yeah, you run a tournament here or a convention here every night, every day.
Yeah.
And that's cool. That's really cool. So you said the menu has game-themed foods, and we love good puns.
Oh, yeah.
So
okay.
I'm sure there's a couple. I'd like to throw some out at us.
Okay, well, puns. So I don't know. I mean, our best sellers are the hamburgers, and it's what got we've got two head chefs, too. That's another thing. Let me just mention. Everyone told me how restaurants always fail, blah, blah, blah. So I thought, well, maybe you shouldn't do a restaurant the way restaurant people do restaurants if they're failing all the time.
Yeah,
So typically in restaurants, you have a head chef and a sous chef and so on, a very strict hierarchy. And I didn't know about this. I'm not from the restaurant world, but there seems to be a very strict hierarchy in the kitchen. And so I hired two head chefs. We did some interviewing, and we got two people we really liked, and we thought, well, let's just bring two of them on board, right? So we did. And one's a very much a by the numbers, solid basics kind of guy that knows his stuff front and back. And then the other is a very creative person. John and Shay are their names. But Shay's interview, her what's it called, audition, her cooking audition was a burger, and she did what's called a dragon burger, and that got her hired. And I'm a hamburger fan. I love a good cheeseburger, but this tasted like a different cut of meat to me. It was so good. So we called it the Dragon Burger because it's spicy. It's like a Thai chili spice infused onions, sautéed onions on the.
I'm getting hungry.
On the burger, and then we have so that's the ancient Dragon Burger, and we toned it down a little bit with just jalapenos for the Elder Dragon Burger, and then we got the Hatchling for people who don't like spice. And this week we're actually featuring Scotch eggs, which are called Dragon eggs. So we got the whole dragon lifespan covered. We've got tater tots done in a nacho style. So they're called tachi. We call them tachi koro for the machi koro game. But we've got Lord of the Fries, which is, those are nacho-style French fries.
Do you have the Titanic salad featuring iceberg lettuce and like all this debris on top?
We don't, but we do have a Trajan Caesar salad. Which is
very good.
Right?
Yeah, we love puns.
Yeah.
You could bounce puns. We could be here forever. Yeah, I mean, and the reason why I asked the question, and about things failing is we want these stores to exist. We want them here. But our big fear is, and like you said, too many people are risk adverse to do something like this.
Yeah.
And it's, you could get gamers to spend money on anything, but this is a time investment, a time and money investment, but it's a labor of love. And it's one of the things like, you go and, hey, I want to finance this. And that's what a lot of gamers don't understand. It's, gamers are very quick to point out what they do and do not like about certain games. And, they wish that they had a game company in the next room that can make them whatever they want, but
right.
They don't understand the finances of it, which is it's not easy.
Yeah, I mean, they could understand it if they wanted to. They would, right?
Well, yeah.
It's easy, people, when we talk about box sizes, for example, right, you see a deck of cards in a huge box, and you say, "What a waste! Why do people? Why do they do that? It would fit so much better on my shelf if it was in a box that fit the cards." But there's a reason companies do that, right?
Yeah.
Because it's an economic decision where they have the boxes already made, and it makes more sense just to throw them in there. And people don't necessarily realize that or know it. It's the same thing here. There's a lot that goes into this. I'm doing great, but the better I do, the more people I need, and the more people I need, the more payroll I have. And if I got to bring a lot of people on for payroll and it's a slow week, then
we know a lot of guys would work for games.
Yeah,
it's true.
Yeah,
true.
Yeah. I mean, so this week's your grand opening, but you've been open for how many weeks?
About 6 weeks. We had a
about
soft
6
opening
weeks.
last 6 weeks. It was 6 weeks ago, and that's because we're creating something new here. I mean, it really is something new. I don't consider it. A lot of people think it's a restaurant, but it's really more of a Dave and Buster's Unplugged. Is kind of how I think.
That's really.
It's a place to spend time, and going back to the gamers, certain niches, certain game aficionados are actually famous for not wanting to spend money. They'll sit there with a Mountain Dew for 5 hours in a store.
Yeah,
if they
some
could.
of them are cheap. Oop.
Yeah. Yep. And I get it. It's nice to be able to spread your dollar, but at the same time, if I had nothing but that here, then I wouldn't be in business long. I need to pay. It's an expensive place to be.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big space, and that's what we need is space. And the more space you need for a retail or a restaurant, then the more expensive it is. So
yes. So it was interesting. So as soon as I found your Facebook page, I threw it up on our Facebook page, and people were like, "Where is this? When can we go? Could we go? Because we're hosting a charity tournament next Saturday in Fredericksburg." And it's like, could we go right after? I go, it's kind of a hike from Fredericksburg, but yeah, no problem. I mean, this is you look for places where you could sit down and game, and eat. To me, this is. I mean, I only need a few more things here. Once I check out the bathroom and it looks comfortable, this could be a home away from home for guys like us. Glenn's like, I don't think so, man.
The bathroom's clean.
Oh, it's not clean.
FYI.
It's those warm seats and.
I got you.
No, I'm sure it's clean. But yeah, I mean that's kind of the thing. Like when I saw this, and it was on the Nova. I forgot the publication that this was on.
Oh, Inside Nova.
Inside Nova. I'm like, somebody did it, and I cannot tell you how excited I was because I've been, and I've heard about those other stores you mentioned, and they're mostly pubs, they're mostly cafes, but this is a full-blown restaurant that really highlights. It's a game store that serves food, or it's a restaurant that has a lot of gaming, and I was like, somebody finally did it, and I'm like thankful that you were close enough where I could come and talk to you. Yeah. First, thank you, because I've been waiting for something like this for a long time.
Well, this is the only place that I've ever been that it really appeals from everybody from 3 to 90. I mean, you know, every place else, like you pointed out, it's a bar, so it's good if you're 20-something and you want to come have a beer and play some game.
Right.
But you're appealing to, every type of gamer out there, like I said, from the youngest to the oldest.
Yeah.
And I think that's great. Hey, John, do you have like a set schedule? I mean, do you have like Tuesday night trivia or something like that you could go through?
Well, I just announced it on Facebook last week, and the Facebook is sort of my primary, megaphone, I guess, right now. We decided that we're going to do Mental Mondays, which is for trivia and other brain games. And let me just sort of prelude this by saying that what we really want is to be general enough on these nights so that a lot of different people can come in and fit in. And I'm getting a lot of singles and couples wanting to get together with others, right? And, join groups. So all these are geared towards allowing people, who don't have a group to come in and find one. So Mental Mondays, Tuesday. What's Tuesday? Oh, Tutorial Tuesday.
Tutorial Tuesday.
Oh, nice.
Tutorial
Okay.
Tuesday. We're gonna feature games. We're gonna take requests. Get people. If a group wants to come in and learn something, I'll do my best to have somebody on hand who can teach it. I don't know every game, but I know a lot of them. And
I will open up the local No Dice, No Glory staff
okay,
of hardcore grogs.
Okay.
If you want somebody to come and do a game here,
okay.
like if you want to do a Secret Hitler night, I'm your man. Have you
yeah.
played that game?
I have played it, and I can't get it for retail, for wholesale, and that annoys me. So
It's not easy to get. That would be the bad part of it is to do a game that people can pick up.
yeah. Well, since you brought it up, I'll just throw that out there. Is that I want people to play either from my collection or bring their own copy of something I have in my collection and something that I can support for retail.
Mhm.
Right. So a lot of Kickstarter games, for example, I don't have. And
Sure.
I discourage people from bringing them in. I don't want that to become the focus and be a big hit among customers that I can't support. So part of my model is retail. So since you mentioned it,
Yep.
I thought I'd throw that out there. But yeah, Circular is great. But I've got a lot of other social deduction games and stuff. Avalon and Resistance being sort of the original great ones. Let's see. So Tutorial Tuesdays.
Mm-hmm.
That's also going to be a great night for D&D and role-playing games.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Which
getting
you
a lot
do
of
have. I
requests.
saw right over
We
here
do,
some
yeah.
D&D.
Yep. We got a lot of requests for that specifically.
Well, of
It's
course,
amazing
right.
how many people my age, I'm 53, my age and older are coming in and saying, I want to play. I missed it. When
Yeah,
I was a kid, I didn't
right.
want to play because it was too geeky or whatever, but now I wish I had played it.
Still
I
one of the most popular games ever.
Yeah.
But I know exactly what he's talking about. I remember we had a D&D club in Iraq, and I had this young kid, like he was probably a 20-year-old soldier, come in. He's just looking, and there's me and one of the other guys about John's age, and and he's like, and hey, do you want to play? No, I've never seen somebody your age play D&D. Like, yeah, back in the day, we were the original guys.
That's
We've
right,
just gotten
yeah.
older.
That's right, yeah. Let's see. So Wednesdays, we're doing Werewolf Wednesdays.
Uh-oh.
And that's a shout-out, not a shout-out, but a werewolf being sort of the typical mass participation game. We want to do that. We talked about a lot of ways to sort of incorporate the whole group. So, if this room is full with people playing, we're considering doing things where we sort of immediately involve them all in a meta game. And we sort of say,
Okay.
if you want to play, look under your chair. There's a card that tells you what your role is. And, we're being attacked now by a bunch of goblins from the street or whatever. What are you going to do? And
Neat.
we're talking about doing something like that if we can. But, we'll have at least Werewolf, Mafia, again, mass participation games. And that's another good night for D&D groups to come in and get together. So there's that. And then there's a Tournament Thursdays. That's going to be for whatever. And again, that allows Magic players, for example, to come out if they
Right.
want. And we can do Magic tournaments. We can do basically any game that's tournamentable, if that's a word. We can turn into a tournament. And then finally, upstairs in front of the bar, we've got ceiling fans, and it gets pretty drafty up there. So we're having a drafty draft on Sunday,
Really?
where we can feature beers and any drafting game, including Magic. Again, it's because a lot of Magic players are asking for space and looking for a night where we're going to have people over. So
Yeah, if it was up to those guys, they'd take over the world.
they would, right?
Yeah.
They can have a small piece of this world, but everybody else gets to share it. So
Yeah.
I just want to see you turn the ceiling fans on high with the Magic player cards.
I know, right? See how much they like it now.
Yeah, that would be awesome. That would be awesome. I mean, I definitely want to walk around here and check this out. I've been waiting for this, so all I can say is thank you, and thanks for letting me bother you on Facebook.
Not at all.
And we also talked about you also do some game development.
I welcome game developers.
You welcome game developers.
Yeah, I'm not a game developer myself. I mean, I've got 2 games way back in the back of my brain that I tried to invent, and I just didn't have the stick-to-itiveness to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But anybody who's interested, to pick my brain, I can tell you. If you want to be a ghost producer of my games, I'll let you know. But I will welcome game developers, especially Tutorial Tuesday would be a good night. In this grand opening weekend, we had 4 different game companies showing off their stuff. So.
Wow, that's great. Awesome.
Wow. Yeah. Well, I tell you what, I think we'll look around for a little bit.
Okay.
And then maybe we'll pick this up in a little bit. There's just too much to look at here. And
gamer ADD is a problem already with you.
Yeah, gamer ADD is really it is. And it's, we all play these games, even though some of us will claim not to, but I haven't played Chutes and Ladders in a long time, and I would dig that. And you know what the other part is, too? So when I told my family I was coming here today, they're like, well, can we come, too? And I'm like, no,
it's
not
work.
this time. It's work, yeah. So, but I'm going to go home and say, this guy's got 2,200 games in his house, and you're complaining I have 100. It's nothing. There's nothing at all.
You can open a branch office at your house.
Yeah, 2 chefs in my house. We barely have 1, unless we're ordering in. But, there's some really neat games here. What do you say we try some out and then pick this up in a little bit? Hey, John, thank you, first of all, once again, for the 4th time. I'm going to say thanks for doing this. This is awesome. And then, hey, thanks for coming on and talking to us. If folks, I am going to post just hit our Facebook post, but when I drop this podcast, it's going to have, first of all, they also have a very cool logo. And here at No Dice, No Glory, we like really cool logos. And notice it features the train, which I got stuck on the other side of the tracks here, earlier today. But it is at 9412 Main Street, Manassas, Virginia, 20110. And you can reach this place. What is your website?
It's ttoptav.com.
Tabletop
Tavern.
Okay, and the best way to get in touch with you is Facebook?
Go on Facebook, yeah. You can message me on Facebook if you got a private message, or you can just sort of post on the wall if you prefer. That's the best way. But you can also get my email there. It's bossmonster@ttoptav.com. That's my email.
I guess when we go offline, we'll ask you what that's all about. So, but yeah, this is pretty neat. And, hey, we're going to send it back to the studio. You see, I'm even looking around as I'm talking. It's very poor.
People are coming in. It's cool. It's good to see.
Yeah.
And we're setting up live games outside. We've got a giant Suro board that Calliope Games sent us.
Oh.
And we've got a giant Connect 4 and a giant Jenga and a giant Yahtzee. We're doing that right out in front on the sidewalk.
Yeah. And maybe we'll bother some of the people that are here to talk to them, to see, what their favorite games are, what they think about this play. Now, see, we're ready to send it back, and I got more questions. Are you pulling in people probably from miles away to come here?
Yeah, well, Alexandria, let's see, Silver Spring.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
A couple from Fredericksburg yesterday.
Yeah.
Here. And then what's the place where Shenandoah National Park starts, that little town there? I forget.
Port Royal?
No, beyond there.
Harper Ferry?
No, it's just a little town. It's just where the entrance to the national park is. I forget the name of the town.
You know what it is? You like maps. You should put a map up, and we should start putting pins.
I thought about that.
Yeah.
I thought about that.
We have a lot of good ideas, but I have very little initiative after that.
Well, I've got a lot of great ideas and no time or money to do.
Oh, that's the excuse I'm going to use. I have no time or money.
Yeah.
Are you doing anything special for Halloween?
We will be doing special things for Halloween. We're talking about exactly what that means. We're not going to. I don't want to do just a regular, just decorate and hand out candy thing. I want it to be interesting.
Live action zombie game?
Maybe. Well, we're talking about maybe an actual masquerade where we'll set off the. There's cool. 2 rooms upstairs. One in front of the bar, one behind it, and the one behind it we call the ballroom. The one in front we call the billiards room. We've got a study and we've got a hall and a living room, or a dining room. And the library and the lounge. You see in the pattern here, a conservatory over in the corner. all the Clue rooms are there. Anyway, so we got a ballroom upstairs.
Is everything here named after Clue?
Yeah.
Oh. Can I be Colonel Mustard?
If you want, sure.
With a lead pipe.
Wait a minute. Who's Mr. Body, if that's the case?
I don't know.
I don't know if you see this. There's a lot. Obviously, podcasts can't see, but
Yeah.
there's decorations everywhere that are based. The ductwork is decorated to be a Robo Rally conveyor belt. So as you look around, check out all the artwork. It's all art. It's all game related, and there's also a shout out to the history of board games. So it's not up there yet, but I'll do a timeline starting 3000
neat.
BC.
Yeah.
You know, where the first dice were discovered, basically. And there's just shout outs. You know, those games on the wall over there are from the mid 1800s.
Yeah.
I've got a Clue on the wall from 49 and a Monopoly from 1937 in the front.
Wow.
So it's. I just wanted to point out to people that we've been playing games and eating and drinking since the beginning of history.
Yeah, well, we certainly have, and we're going to do that. And then I don't know if you'll be around, but maybe we'll come back in a minute or two. Well, for us, it will be after we play the game. And but John, once again, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming.
And we're going to send it back to Sean in the studio.
All right.
Hey, and we're back. So Glenn and I have been here for about 4 hours. We just wrapped up a game of 65. And what do you think of the vehicles in Mark Walker's 65, the squad combat game of Vietnam? Hold on, you're not coming in. We might have to turn on your microphone. Try it again.
Yeah, the vehicles, I was eager to try them as something different, but, man, I found them really hard to use. It wasn't nearly the fun of just having the squad-level guys shooting at each other.
You know, we also haven't played the game since June, early June,
Yeah.
and it's October now, so probably we need to play some more. But, I'll tell you what. If I have to go to a place to play it again, I'm coming here. What do you think of this place?
Right? I mean,
John's not here. We could talk about it.
I had a great beer while we played, and you can order this awesome-looking food. I mean, it's all like gourmet food, right?
Yeah.
It just what a great atmosphere to play in. I mean, you kind of just want to come out and hang out here, even if you're not playing.
Yeah, so, I'm going to put this out there. I've been waiting for a place like this. If you're a gamer anywhere in the Nova area, come on down here. Tell them No Dice, No Glory sent you. No, come on down here. Check it out. It's like a good place, not, I guess, for a meal, yeah, but it's a good place just to chill. I feel chilled. Like fine wine.
It's comfortable.
It's very comfortable. And it's kind of like, the wood floor. It's the whole thing. It's kind of neat. And everything here has something to do with gaming, and it's kind of great. If you don't live in the area, I would take a special trip just to come on out here. I think this is a really neat place.
And bring your family.
Yeah.
This is perfect for bringing your family. For family wants to spend time, but I kind of want a game. You bring them here, and they got food, and there's kids' games, even little kids' games.
Yeah.
And you can actually walk around Old Town Manassas here, which I had never been to before, but
I've
it's
never
pretty
been here
impressive.
either. Yeah, they even have a cannonball in the wall. Hey, so we're going to post pictures of this place, and we definitely want to stay in touch with John. Hey, but if you're a gamer and you're thinking about, hosting, he talked about all those events he wants to do. If you want to come here, we can get you in touch with these guys. To me, if you're a gamer and you want to throw a party, this is a good place to go. When I turn 60, if I make it, we'll do it here.
There you go.
Yeah.
This is an adult birthday party location. You can't beat this place.
And you know what it is, too, and I think we discussed it, off thing. You come in here and you see this man's passion to do this and talking to him about gaming. And, he took us through his 1,400 games here and passion and excitement that he has for this. You got to come just to meet John.
Well, and you can see that reflected just in the decor around here.
Yeah.
Like the silhouette for the gentleman's room, it's this character from a game. And
vertical chess.
Vertical chess, yeah. That's awesome. But he's got quite a bit, and he's going to do more, he said. But there's so much stuff. You'll see all sorts of wall murals drawn by poor starving artists that work here, but they're from, the background to a game.
Yeah.
So
it's
really a
definitely
gamer's paradise.
It really is. It's just to be from what he told us, Not so much with the miniatures because he can't really do it, but he does have some tabletop board games, and he said he'll bring more.
Right?
He's got, and there's X-Wing there. Throwing. I really am. I'm going to leave here, and I definitely want to.
And talk the wife into moving closer to here.
No. I mean, as the crow flies, it's not that far, but I don't own a crow. I don't know if you do. But hey, before we wrap up, we got a bunch of stuff to talk about. So what are you doing on next Saturday, sir?
Well, I understand there's a charity tournament going on.
There's a charity tournament for taps. Hopefully this will be out in time. What are you going to run? Russians. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, big time.
Running Germans. But you know what I did for that tournament is I reached out to the Goebbels and Scott McLemore. When was the last time you saw them at a Flames of War event?
I know, right? It's been a couple of years at least, huh?
And then Jason Huffstetler, our X-Wing guy, our Armada guy. He's never played Flames before. He's going to play it for the first time. So we're going to try to raise money for taps.org. I'm excited about that. And then we go into November. We have 2 big events in November at the Games Tavern, which is with our friend John, on 3 November. I believe it's 3 November.
Yes, that's right.
He is having a Team Yankee Flames Team Yankee 75-point event. I guess it's a tune-up for the following weekend, but if you're interested in that, go to the Games Tavern's website, off their Facebook page. You can look at our Facebook page and the events. It's in there, and sign up, which kind of is interesting because I'm exhausted, and I'll tell you why. I finished painting 18 Leopard 1s, 24 M113s of all different types of ilk, Canadian this, Canadian that. All I have left to do is put decals on. And I'm excited to run it.
It's because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, the points level is 71 points for that?
So, yeah, I don't know if ours is 75 or one of them 71,
anyway,
75.
You're down there, so it's pretty hard to run the big sexy stuff like Leo 2s, but Leo 1s and 113s, that's where it's at. It'll be a pretty interesting contest when you're, kind of, I find it much more fun for everybody when you're done that kind of like that second level of the technical edge.
50-point sweet spot of the game. I know people hate that. I'm actually going to run a infantry company with a Leo company, backed up with British Recce with the swing fires, and then throw a couple of this, couple of that. And then for the 93 is the new points total that they want to play with. And, folks like Bill White, who is No Dice, No Glory is his second or third favorite site because he's always quoting Breakthrough Assault. We love those guys. But Bill's like, yeah, I won't even show up unless it's big points because he likes his big tanks. So if we host a 93-pointer, I'm taking my British 75-point, and I'm just adding 2 IP M1s because you could take the American augmentation. And that's it. That's my list. Fit in a shoebox, I guess. Well, what do you... So let's go to that following weekend is the Iron Man.
Is the big one.
Are you going to be Iron Manning it out?
I'm going to be Iron Manning Friday, Saturday. For those of you who haven't heard, and I don't know where you've been hiding if you hadn't, it's a combination Flames of War, Team Yankee, one game each day, and the overall winner is crowned Iron Man.
Is the Iron Man. But everybody that participates both days they become Iron Men, and they get a 20% off gift certificate. I believe,
they get more like money men at that point.
They're money men. So
and that's everything that Battlefront has. So that's a lot. A great way to supplement your force and build it up.
Yeah. So what we're going to do for that is Kurt is running the Saturday event. So in between games 2 and 3, he's going to give everybody enough time to shop.
Oh, great.
So everybody can shop. All right, so let's talk about a couple of new things that are coming out. Cruel Seas, which is the PT Boat Destroyer game. There's been more stuff coming from Warlord on that. I do not have a release date, but I've been bothering John Russell from Warlord. We will be getting a preview of that. I already read the rules. We will be getting a preview copy. So we're going to try to bring that to you as fast as possible. I don't know if you're into naval games.
they're okay when you can't be in the Army, but
Yeah, I guess they are. Speaking of that, in a couple of weeks, Hearts of Iron, the Kickstarter should be out. And have you been? Once again, you don't have Facebook, man. You got to see the pictures of what they're coming out with.
well, I saw them, of course, at Historicon, and just looks fantastic.
Now they have
And,
the sculpts done for each of the ships.
Yeah, really, and they have kind of an interesting card the way they do the ship with two little notches at the back of the card the ship sits on, and then that'll tell you kind of how fast it's sailing and what direction it's going and things like that. So, pretty innovative, frankly.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. We'll drop that on our site. Let's talk about another naval game. So Walter Vale, I reached out to him. He's got a game on the one of the Great War Facebook pages. It's called Hearts of Leviathan. And anybody that knows my creds as a gamer knows I love battleships. But he is taking it as a fast play, squadron on squadron ship game played on the 3x3 mat. I don't want to compare it to another game, but it is with, you can use like cards, I guess, to augment your force, but it's going to be 1,200 ships, but reduced 1/3 in size. So he's going to have a unique line of ships, and it essentially is, all right, so I'll just say it. I compare it to like an X-Wing of dreadnoughts.
Oh,
and
wow.
that has got to be... he's supposed to be sending me some models, so we'll have them up on the site. I am excited for that. Let's also go to some land battles, just to tell you guys about Command Post Games. They do games in the old Kriegspiel style with these beautiful maps and wooden blocks and measurements and dice, and it's old school wargaming. The Kickstarter's going on now for Gettysburg. It looks like it's an interesting game. Aesthetically, it looks very pleasing. So I'm excited for that one to come out. But I've been talking to Walter, and I would love to get his game in this store.
Yeah, no, that would be perfect for that because, again, though they don't do miniatures, they do a lot of war games here. And that would fit on these nice, handsome tables that they have here.
Yeah. I tell you what, though, he does the maps in paper. And he does the maps in Canvas. I think Canvas. I should change my order to the Canvas maps because I'm going to get burger grease on it. And then the other one I cannot wait to get my hands on is Uwe Eckert is going to send me Storms of Steel. I think it's version 3, and I'm going to ask you if you want to play test that with me.
Sure.
Storms of Steel, you can actually get it on Steam. There's a version of it you can get, but it is a squad-level combat game. They've done Awakening the Bear, which is Barbarossa. They did Kursk, and they did Guadalcanal. But Storms of Steel is the Kursk, and they're redoing it. And credit where credit's due, I got the Guadalcanal game a few years ago. I liked it, but there was, to me, there was a flaw in the activation system where if I activated a unit, I had to either exhaust a unit or move on to another. So I couldn't go from, it's like almost like between the way the activation goes, you and your opponent can just march around in circles on the board. Unless you want to just say, okay, I don't want to activate this one unit anymore. I want to go to the other side of the table. And it's hard to explain, but it used to be okay, you can only play with this one unit until you spend all 7 of its activation points. Now you can move, fire, and then you could go back to it. But if you go right back to it, like you can get the unit exhausted. It's hard to explain. I'm going to write an article on it. But to me, that was the Mitch Reed flaw in it. Now that that's out, I'm really kind of excited about this. And he reached out to us. So I'm really excited about that. And, it's coming that time of year where games are coming out. I don't know what you're looking forward to coming out.
Well, I don't know, but my philosophy is no game left behind.
Yeah, no game left behind.
Let's try them all and sort them out. And, again, we're in a great venue for doing that sort of thing.
Yeah, and not only, too, but it's like John Hornberger was an amazing host. The staff here is awesome. I mean, they're a mixture of, he wanted to hire gamers that wanted to serve first. I'd say, like, if you're looking for a place and you're a gamer to go out for dinner, try this place. I mean, Manassas is not rural West Virginia, where we're based out of. the secret underground lair that we have. But you got to check this place out. It's see it to believe it. So I'm going to take some more pictures, throw some more up. But I'm excited to come back here. You?
Oh yeah, and I'm bringing my wife next time for sure. I mean, there's a lot great food inside here, and I'm talking like gourmet food. And then
prices didn't look bad.
While you're gaming, the spouse can wander around. There's a pretty nice setup here with Old Town Manassas. I've never been here before, but
yeah,
kind of got it going on.
You're going to bring your wife. I'm actually going to bring Kanye West.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
I think he'd be. No offense.
We might have to change the rating on our podcast if we do.
Okay. Well, I think right now he's very entertaining. So I may be gaming with Yeezy, which is what we're going to call him. But I think we're going to sign this off back to Sean. And then I don't know about you. I like to do some shopping.
Sounds good.
All right. So once again, thanks to the crew here. And back to you, Sean. And check us out below. I'll have the pictures from today, and I'll have the address. And we'll be seeing you later.
Thanks so much for joining the show tonight. Remember to follow us on Twitter at No Dice, No Glory, and keep the conversation going on NoDiceNoGlory.com, now featuring our own message boards. Have a great night, everybody.